to give a quick demo of the license compliance classification name changes that have happened in the UI. At a high level, we're essentially changing the convention of approved and blacklisted to allowed and denied. And in the cases where we have in the UI where we want to take action on the license policy, the actionable terminology is allow or deny. So if you mark a license policy as allow, if you mark it to allow it, then the new state will be allowed. If you mark to deny it, the new state will be denied. So we had some of that already implemented in the UI, but this issue is a follow-up to fix that in other areas of the UI, like the modals and the drop downs for the, I guess what used to be called the license management screen. So we'll go through that. The first thing we'll do is take a quick look at the actual merge request to look at what was changed. And the refactor is very simple. It was just a search and replace of renaming the variable names, the constants, from, you see here, approved, blacklisted to allowed and denied. And there was a search and replace of the entire code base to update that. So you can see here where it's been updated. And we also went ahead and renamed the UX actions from approved license to allow license. And let's see. Yeah, so besides the actions being renamed, we also added in a new constant for to handle the cases of the copy or the text copy in the UI that would qualify as the action name. In this case, allow and deny. And we only really use that in the modals and in the dropdown for license management. So now I'm going to go through a demo of this branch that represents this MR. So let's see. Here we have our local instance, and I'll refresh the page here. And this is the license compliance page as viewed as a maintainer type role. If you go to policies, this is essentially what we've changed here was to have allow and denied represented as the current state of the license policy, and then in the drop down, giving them the option of marking or taking the action of allowing it or denying this a license policy. So that was the subtle difference. Allow and deny should be the strings that represent taking action on this on the license policy, and allowed and denied represent the current state after an action was taken. So this is the maintainer view, and then I also have here an incognito window just so I can log in as a different user in a different session, a non-maintainer user role. And you'll still see here that we have allowed and denied as expected. Another place we see these states are in merge requests. So here's a merge request for the same project. I'm going to refresh the page so we know it's working. So you'll see we'll wait for the license compliance report or the MR widget here to load. You expand it out, and you can see here now we're taking action on this. So the check mark means that this license is currently allowed. Now if we want to deny it, this is where we see the text in the modal. We can deny it, and then you'll see after it's been denied, you want to take action on it if you want to allow it. So now it's allowed once the checkbox changes. This means that the gray circle means that no action has been taken for that license. So what we see here are licenses that are detected as per the license scan, but doesn't necessarily have a license policy set for it yet. So we click on it. Now you see that we can either deny or allow it. And that in turn creates a new license policy for that license that was detected but had no policy for. So if we go back to license compliance, you'll see the new up here, this new policy was added as allowed. And that's pretty much it. So really, this merge request was or this demo was to show that the changes in the merge request didn't break anything as far as we know, um, and it was only centered around renaming the constant names. The values that the constants represent have not changed, so I wanted to point that out. So the reason for that is we renamed the constants from approved blacklisted to allowed denied to match the, I guess, the naming convention that's user facing, but we left the values as they were originally because the backend currently returns approved and blacklisted as values. So the follow-up issue to finish cleaning this up would be to either we do have a new license compliance endpoint that's created as part of the new license compliance work that Mo had worked on, or we could update the legacy endpoint, which I would advise against to because that we are deprecating that. So the ideal follow-up issue would be to have the license management screen, the one with the policies over here, migrated to use the new license compliance endpoint, which has the updated allowed, denied statuses for the license policy. I know it's kind of a mouthful, but hopefully that makes sense. So with that said, as far as we know, we just cleaned up the code base in terms of the variable names to make it a little bit clear and consistent. Yeah, and then updating the unit tests. All we really do with the unit tests to make sure they still pass is just search and replace that renamed the constant name. So you see approved to allowed. The unit test logic itself should have not changed. So that's how we know we're not introducing any new breakages as far as the test coverage we have already. Because just it was we have our variable renames. And yeah, that's pretty much it.